That's not how the Force works.
I don't care.
I like to get into a vibe. You know what I mean? So we'll get into it. We'll discuss it all. The truth is, it sort of is what it is. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Look, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Right? You know what I mean? That's all good. You know what I mean? Right?
What are you talking about?
G'day guys and welcome back to Casual Rage. G'day guys and welcome to Casual Rage 245, where we casually rage out about the topics of the week. And this week, well, I woke up this morning to, I think there was a couple of trailers actually. We got a Mortal Kombat trailer to check out. I haven't watched it yet, which is awesome. I actually kind of can't wait for this movie. Johnny Cage. Oh, it's going to be good. We got some Star Wars stuff to just catch up on. I think Disney's getting a little scared. I think Lucasfilm is getting a little scared. This is going to be such a failure. But anyway, we'll talk about it. That's right, there was a House of the Dragon Season 3 trailer that we're going to check out. We are going to talk about the Baftas as well. There was also a Toy Story 5 trailer, which I've got right at the end, so we'll see how we go. And Seal of the Week, I need some suggestions of some people if you've seen any tweets. I've got only one at this point in time. I actually went through Sawyer's complete, the last couple of days or whatever, and she's barely tweeting about Star Wars. The funny thing is the shills that talk about Star Wars and say, this is the best Star Wars since the last Star Wars, and say that the last Star Wars was the best Star Wars since the Star Wars before that. They when there's nothing sort of to talk about, they disappear. They actually sort of really don't have any interest in it. Either that or they've just been scared off. I feel like I actually did some damage to Sawyer when I was in LA. Something shifted after that. Don't you reckon? But yeah, we got a little bit to talk about. We've also got Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which was awesome that I watched. Starfleet Academy, I've sort of given up on. I'm pretty sure Flash is still watching it. And, I don't know whether or not he still wants to talk about it. But, I've had enough of that show. It's so freaking bad. It really is. But yeah, we'll go through it all. Let's see who we've got here. We've got Butcher in the chat. How you doing, Butcher? Good to see you. Fear of FEMA. Will Rhino agree with Grace about the Baftas? Well, you'll have to wait and see. Mr. Grant Gregory, how you doing? Oi, oi. Into the chopper eye. Dude, I just started watching season 9 with my mate. That's where we're up to. And it really does fall off, doesn't it? I must admit that, knowing the story and everything, the Ori, I just can't. I hate the Ori. I think Atlantis is better than the last 2 seasons of SG-1. But that's where it also crosses over. And I never really knew that until sort of recently, that the last 2 seasons of SG-1 cross over with, I believe, stuff that happens in the first season of Atlantis, if I'm not mistaken. And I'd actually like to know exactly how the episodes interweave with each other and where to insert like episodes while watching season 9 and 10 of SG1, where to insert the episodes that you need to watch for Atlantis. Surely there's probably fucking just a graph out there. I'd just have to do a search. But yeah, season 9, man. No Jack doesn't help. I think Shepard is a better character and a better main character than Mitchell. I don't mind Mitchell, but they really did try to really push him in. I do like the fact that they break up the team and they sort of bring some of the team back together. I can't remember if Sam comes back because you've obviously got Valor now. I can't remember. Anyway, that's cool. Like, man, as I'm moving through Stargate again, like, I love Stargate. I think it's fucking awesome. And just great fun entertainment. You can, I hate that fun entertainment, but it is true. But you can sort of get more and more out of it the more you watch it. There's a lot of filler in there that doesn't equate to anything. But even in some of those episodes where there's filler that doesn't actually equate to anything, that doesn't really pay off later on, there might be some little seed in there that does pay off or is relevant to the bigger picture. It's just really good. It really is overall. We got Mike Hill in the chat. How you doing, Mike? Yes, we are going to be watching the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer. Let's talk about Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Well, that might be a good idea. We might just do that. Saw 0132. Almost said 23. Hi, you missed all the fun chat. Sorry, you missed all the fun chat was not working earlier today. Yeah, no, I know. I was watching Ryan's stream and like, dude, he started his stream. He had 500 people in there and he only had like, I don't know, 20 comments in the chat total. So yeah, they've obviously fixed the problem, I think, now. Oh, and it was pretty crazy that he could only type in his own chat in Spanish. He would type hello, nothing came up. And then he typed, where's the toilet in Spanish? And yep, popped up. But yes, hello everyone and welcome. Let's actually talk about Night of the Seven Kingdoms really quickly because we'll just get through that. It was really, really good. We had the final episode. Well, it's almost a week ago. I kind of hated when they released it because it's so far away from Casual Rage. Let me just bring it up and see if we can just share this really quickly. Hold on. I didn't have this ready. Sorry. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So overall, let me just say this before I get into like the specifics of the final episode. Overall, the entire show was actually really, really good. It's fantastic. It's just good storytelling. The casting and the characters and the chemistry between those characters is really good. The way that they adapted the book, obviously there's a couple of things that they changed. Obviously there's a couple of things that they left out. And like, yeah, you got to make these adjustments for TV. But majority of what they did was really good. Now, I do think that there was a couple of missed opportunities with a couple of things, and I'm not saying that I'm a massive lore expert or anything. It's just from once reading the book. Like, I started reading the book after the third episode. I was able to catch, like, you can read it pretty much in a day or listen to it in a day. So it was interesting, you know, I've been watching obviously Ryan and Gary and them doing their reviews and stuff like that with Mauler and Fringy and Shad and everything. It was interesting hearing what Ryan was saying about how are they gonna fill 30 minutes? You know, my mate who I got onto watching it, who I watched Stargate with, he was watching it with his wife. and they got to they started watching it once the 5th episode hit, and he's like, "Oh, dude, they're really short. I hope that they do a movie length or something like that for the final episode." I'm like, dude, you're missing the point. There's not enough book to even they're going to struggle to fill half an hour, but they did it, and they actually did it really. We don't need that. We don't need audio either. That's weird. Why isn't that? Oh, we'll just do it that way. All right. I wonder if this is going to share. Because sometimes it just blacks the screen out. Yeah, it's going to do it that way, isn't it? See? Like I've got an image here. You don't. It's weird how it does that. How does it know? Is it a watermark that it detects? Let's see if I can try it a different way. Ha! Broke the system. Different way of sharing it. So, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Final episode. Starts off really good. Obviously Dunk is like wounded and everything. Like there's so much that I still don't know. Like it all makes sense, but like, this guy, I can't even remember his name. So he's the Laughing Knight or whatever. Oh, it says it there. So Lionel. Like, obviously, he's got his own. Like, this is the thing. This world is so big that, like, and I never watched Game of Thrones. I've only just started watching it. I haven't actually got back into it. I'm only about halfway through season 3. But there's still so much to know. But basically, the thing that I also love about this series is like those comedic moments. Like there's some funniness in this interaction, but then it's also very serious. Like he invites him to come and, I'll love you like a brother. And if you don't come with me, I'll hate you like a brother or whatever. And how Baylor didn't sacrifice a thing. These are the guys that fought for you. Like, there's so much depth in just the storytelling, and the way that it's portrayed by the actors is really good too. Like, I can't honestly. I think there's a possibility. I will say this: there's a possibility that Night of the Seven Kingdoms has been overhyped. And the only reason why I say that is because we have been starved for so long of good storytelling that when we see good storytelling, it is so like, whoa, like this has been missing for so long. It's so polarizing. Polarizing? I don't even know if I'm saying that word right. That then the hype goes maybe a little too high. Now, I'm not like, I think that this is absolutely great, but that could be coming from that biased viewpoint of like, we've had so much shit entertainment. Then you got Baylor's funeral, and the conversation that takes place between Baylor's son and Dunk. Again, I think in the book, it's a little bit shorter than, like, it is a very, very quick conversation. And obviously, the way that the actors, like the way that Dunk feels, he just does such a great job of it. He feels so responsible. You get a lot of that actually later. Actually, if I put on, closed captions. Yeah, okay, good. Just in case we come across something. He asked, like, he could have been the best king was probably going to be the best king, to be honest. And why did he die and the gods save Dunk? And Dunk's like, I wonder that myself. He's then walking through the little town or whatever it is. Finds Raymond Fossaway, who obviously starts his own house. Again, the way that it just adapts the book to screen is really good. And then you got his new wife, that's the whore, that's apparently pregnant. Now, I've heard a couple of people, because he's obviously broken off. His cousin left him. He's broken off to make his green apple Fossawaits, or whatever the last name is. And I've heard, like, Ryan, you know, especially, like, talking about how he doesn't like the fact that she's sort of pregnant. He'd be okay with it just being a whore and that, you know, but... And then Raymond to be that naive, I don't know. Anyway, but again, another really good. There's comedy to it, but there's also like weight to it. There's meaning in nearly everything. So then obviously, what's his name? Maycor? Yeah, Maycor. Wants to see Dunk. He's talking about how, and again, another great adaptation from the book to screen, the conversation that takes place here. But again, these conversations are actually so quick in the book. And the way that it's done here is just really, really good. Like, again, makes it even more powerful than what I imagined while reading or listening in my case. Some men will say, I meant to kill my brother. You know, obviously wanting the throne and all of that sort of thing. But then they go through the conversation and, you know, Dunk feels the same way. He's going to hear these whispers constantly of the hedge knight that cost us one of the best kings the realm could have ever seen. Or, you know, he'll hear those whispers for the rest of his life. And the conversation is really good. Maycor completely understands, but at the same time also has a bit of resentment for Dunk. But then also then goes on to say that his youngest, Egg, has taken a liking to him and he needs to become a squire. And there was also, sorry, before we get into that, just before that within the conversation, he's like, Dunk is thinking like, okay, so if I had just accepted the charges, I would have maybe lost a hand, maybe a foot, maybe both. And, you know, could I have given one up? You know, would it have been worth saving a prince that could have become one of the best kings in the realm? And Makor asked him, like, what did your gods tell you? And like, maybe one day, you know, this foot will be needed. Maybe one day this hand will be needed, sort of thing. It's more so the foot, I think. And there's a deeper reference to that I don't know about. May be needed to save a royal, or, you know, he goes, unlikely. There's not many hedge knights that are, you know, royal guards or whatever. But then obviously goes on to talk about how Egg will only squire for Dunk. And Dunk is like, no, I'm done with princes. Egg was listening in the whole time. He's like, I just can't do it. It's like, well, maybe I didn't think you were the knight I thought you were, and walks off on him. Then we get the flashback, and then again, another little comedic moment in a bunch of seriousness where this is under the tree. This is for, like, at the beginning of the season, this is the tree that he obviously gets buried under. So Arlen. He starts telling this story. Dunk wants to know why he was never knighted, but it's also still left ambiguous in regards to whether or not we actually know whether or not he was knighted or not. And the scene at the end I kind of really like. I see a little bit of a knighting in that moment, even though it's not official. But then, so Arlen's telling his story, seems to have died when Dunga asked the question. And then Sir Arlen wakes up and finishes his story and says a knight always finishes his story, and then looks like he goes dead again. But again, it's left completely ambiguous on whether or not he did actually officially get knighted or not. And it would seem that he more so didn't get knighted than he actually did. I can't remember this conversation. I can't remember this bit. What happens here? He's with Sir Raymond. Oh, that's right. And then he gets called over by Darien, the other prince, the drunken one, the one that had the vision of him. And he basically, I think, comes and just, I think he puts the idea in his head, and it was smart of him to do it, where, you can clearly see, and if you've had any interaction with Dunk, as Darien has, you can see that Dunk really cares for Egg. Almost like a brotherly love, or even almost a fatherly love. He has that kind of caring for him. And basically, Darien appeals to that and says, like, his brothers, all of us, were never, we were fathered by our father. Look how we've all sort of turned out. It's obviously a lot more subtle than that, but that's basically what he's saying. And you can kind of see, and again, in the performance, you can kind of see Dunk's like, yeah, okay, I can see what you're saying there. They sound gay. G'day, Big Phrase. How you doing? I see that you keep getting timed out by Jay. Nearly every stream, it's like, all right, Big Phrase, sorry, you've said too much. They did the Fast and the Furious ending when they parted. I see what you're saying. I didn't see it like that though. When I was watching it, I actually kind of like that. And again, I'll sort of explain when we get there. So that puts the idea in Dunk's head. This scene, I got to admit, this is probably actually my favorite scene in the entire, well, at least in the episode. It's probably one of the closest, like, to my favorite scene in the entire fucking series. So Egg is sitting on his bed. I can't remember exactly what he's looking at, but he kind of looks over and he looks into the mirror and he can see that his hair is growing back, that white in his hair. And he's like, nah, like Dunk has left me. Now I'm really fearful because obviously, okay, so think about this from Egg's point of view for a second. And this is where it sort of goes even deeper and darker than you could possibly think. So earlier in the series, there's a moment where Egg tells Dunk that, his brother used to come in his room with a knife and hold it to his balls and say, and like, he'll cut him off. So, because he's got too many brothers already, and then he'll just marry him because he'll make him his sister, right? And then he apparently threw the cat down the well. Like, he's been very cruel to Egg, right? Now, he has supported Dunk, right? Squired for Dunk, and Dunk is the one that's fucked him up, and you'll see him in the bed shortly because he is one of the most injured, other than probably Dunk and other than the ones that died, from this, what's it called? Battle of Seven? I'm getting that wrong, aren't I? Anyway, so once his brother gets better, I can't remember his name, chat, help me. Arian? Is that? I can't remember. Anyway, when his brother wakes up, who's he going to blame? Who's he going to, torture even more because Egg helped the one that, basically did this. So Egg sort of snaps in a way. He's like, this is the choice. This is the fork in the road. This is the path. This is the moment where Egg either turns into his brothers or he still stays that kind-hearted, innocent child that he could be. And he walks into his brother's room. The music is, let's see. I don't even know if you're going to have actual audio. Do you guys have? Maybe because I actually plugged my headphones in, it might not work for you guys. Anyway, it doesn't really matter anyway. The music was good for this bit. But Egg's walking over. He's got a knife in his hand. The performance again, I got to say. This kid's quite incredible as an actor. And the other thing too, if you've seen him behind the scenes and any of the behind the scenes stuff, he's still like, a 10-year-old boy, but he's, and you do see this with a couple of kid actors where they're like a little bit more mature, a little bit more above their age, in the maturity standpoint, but this kid is something else. He's great. He can fucking act. So he's walking over, tearing up. I want to see if so he's walking over. I can't play too much. And then the chair creaking. And Maker is sitting there watching over his son. And who does he see come in? His youngest kid with a knife to kill his son. One of his sons comes into his room to kill his son. And the thing is that's so good about this is there are no words. Oh, no, sorry. There is something that Egg says. Hang on one second. I can't play too much of this, but like I said, it is my favorite. It's such a good scene. Hang on. Let me reshare it because I don't know if you guys have got audio. We gotta be careful here. I'm probably gonna have to I hope not, because I don't know. I hope I don't have to cut this whole fucking segment out because I've been clicking through. Even clicking through, it takes the things and it thinks that you're actually fucking watching it. I've had that happen before. Andor sounds way better than this, dude. I'm pretty sure Egg says something. Again, dude. Like father, like son. Well, yeah, but this is the thing though, too, is reading the book as well, I honestly don't think Maker meant to actually kill his brother. I don't even think he knew that it was his brother that he hit. Because the swing, because his brother comes up behind him, Baylor, and hits him in the armor, and then he's fighting somebody else, and he does this backswing and just hits him to get him off him because he obviously felt him behind him. I don't know whether or not there's complete intention behind it, and you could argue that he did. Absolutely. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm sure Egg says something here. Maybe not. Maker walks over, just puts his hand on his shoulders. Egg drops the knife. Hang on a second. Let me stop sharing it for a second. Go, Geordie. You bastard. Okay, okay, so there is no words. But let me play from here. Let me play this bit. So Makar walks over. Oh no, we can't share it like that, can we? Puts his hands on his shoulders. Egg drops the knife. And just like that relief. And then Makar like just anyway, I think no words are spoken and there's so much weight and the performances are fantastic. Now, again, I could sit here and I could say that it's like recency bias and like, you know, we have been starved of good entertainment for a long time. And that could be heightening how good this show is. Because if everything else around this was, let's say, at the sort of the same level as this, would this stand out as much? Is my point. Maybe not, but I gotta say, for what, in the fact that we've been starved of so much good entertainment for so long, this has been such a breath of fresh air. So the great thing about this, again, and this is another, no scene is wasted. Nothing is, the opportunities have been taken throughout this entire thing. So once this scene happens, one of the guards walks in, footsteps, and he's like, "What do you want?" And he's like, Sir Duncan would like to have a word with you. And Egg's ears obviously prick up. Sir Duncan, my lord, requests an audience. So basically, the conversation that takes place is Dunk says to Makor that, you know, I'll agree to take on Egg as a squire, but he's going to come with me, and I'm going to teach him to squire how I learned how to squire. And we're going to go on the road, and we're going to be staying at inns. We're going to be staying maybe even sometimes under a hedge, under a tree, right? And you know, Makor turns around and says, "He's a prince. What are you talking about? I'm not going to let you take him and do all of this." And then Dunk's reply to that is actually really good and a very bold too, but says like, you know, all your other sons were brought up in this kingdom and, you know, surrounded by privilege and all, like, again, I'm you know, it's not exactly what he's saying, but Makor still doesn't agree to it, right? But that's what Dunk's terms are basically in this thing. Again, another really good scene, another really good conversation. And then Dunk is getting ready to leave. Raymond is the MVP. He is. He goes against his brother, who goes back, who has no honor anymore. Well, at least not in his eyes and not in the eyes of probably a few people and maybe even a few houses. I'm not too sure exactly how that sort of would work or how that sort of word would get around. But fucking Raymond Fossaway, I'll tell you what, he is the GOAT. Yes, he is. He is. So he brings, I can't remember the horse's name. I'm sorry. Oops. I can't remember the horse's name. Let's see. We'll find it. There you go. Sweetfoot. That's right. Gary kept saying Sweet Tooth. So he gets Sweetfoot back for him. Basically says to Raymond that he doesn't really need him, and gives him to Raymond to work on his cider field or whatever. It was his cousin. Sorry, what did I say? His brother. My bad. Isn't it funny that I click forward 10 seconds and there's a conversation that takes place here? I don't get one piece of text to give me any reference because I can't exactly remember this conversation other than the fact that Dunk gives Sweetfoot to Raymond to take with him. And then Dunk is just, getting ready to bail, getting ready to leave. He takes is that the coin that's in the sword or whatever? And he takes it out and then hammers it into the tree. I don't know if there's any sort of secretive meaning or anything behind that. And then he sort of starts to leave. And as he's leaving, Egg shows up. He's like, oh, my dad told me to come and squire for you. I'm like, all right, then, this, and this. Set some rules or whatever. They talk about the 9 kingdoms as they're riding away. And then there's this scene, which, a couple of people mentioned earlier. There you go. Now, the thing that I liked about this is the fact that you don't know whether or not 100% whether or not he was knighted or not. To me, this is almost like, I don't know, a bit of a symbolism of this is where his true knighthood, I guess, probably starts. It's almost like this was a little bit of a trial for him. I don't know. That's how I kind of read this scene. Yeah, Fast 7. They're on the road. The road that leads to season 8 of Game of Thrones. That's true. It is true. So yeah, I don't know the whole 9 Kingdoms thing. But then obviously you get the cutscene, technically the cutscene, where Maker, they're traveling back and he's like, where's Egg? Where's Egg? And then fuck. Now, again, that's not in the books at all like that. To me, in the books, it actually seems like Maker gives him actually permission, like he knows. I don't know if I can't remember whether or not it's specifically mentioned or whether or not it's sort of implied. But if Egg has disappeared again and he's gone with Dunk again, there's a possibility that Egg is putting Dunk's life in danger again, bringing down the wrath of his father's will upon him, so to speak. Surely, though, after this incident, Maker will be able to see that, Egg did just run away, but who knows? They're going to have to work something out there, I think. But yeah, I think it's really good. Like I said, even just in isolation as its own little isolated story. If you didn't even care and you didn't want to watch any more of House of the Dragon or any more of Game of Thrones or any more of the universe, you could literally watch this as its own isolated story. It's like a movie. It ends with the parting, the Fast and Furious parting of the horses, going down different roads and saying goodbye, and then you get Maker saying, "Where's Egg? Where's Egg?" And then fuck, and then rides off, and that's where the movie ends. There is a continuation of the story, but you don't need to. You wouldn't need to. Just like Andor. Just like Andor. So yes, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, I would say, was really fucking good. Melissa gives it a 10 out of 10. There's a couple of things that I'd give it probably a 9 out of 10. Just in regards to there was one bit specifically that stood out to me that I was like, they could have just done that a little bit better and it would have adapted the book a little bit better as well, which is when the what's it called? The Battle of Seven? Why does that feel wrong? Anyway, just before it starts in the book, there's the conversation, there's the bit where in the strategy conversation, Baylor, Trial of Seven. Thank you, Melissa. Just before the Trial of Seven starts, Baylor comes over and starts talking about the strategy and talking about how the Kingsguard can't touch him and all of that sort of thing. And they sort of strategize through that. But there's one part of the strategy that is missed in the show, and that's the Lancers, right? You've got the Tawny Lancers, the Tournament Lancers, and then you've got the War Lancers. The Tawny Lancers are like 2 feet or something longer than the War Lancers. And Makar says, like, okay, we'll use the Tawny Lancers. As long as you can make contact with them first, then they can't touch you, right? And you hopefully be able to stay on your horse for longer than they will be able to. That conversation and that part of the strategy doesn't take place. And the other part that then doesn't take place is somebody, I don't know who, I can't remember in the book, but somebody else goes to give Dunk his lance. And Egg's like, no, I have to be the one to hand it to him. Now, how they could have done it in the show is obviously with the Trial of Seven happening, the squires would have all thought, all right, we're using War Lancers. Right? So Egg was actually already standing there with the War Lance. They could have had that strategy conversation. They could have had all the squires run off, go change out the Lancers to get the Tawny Lancers, come back, and while they're giving the Lancers to the Knights, somebody goes to give Dunk his lance, and Egg is like, no, I have to give it to him, and then gives it to him. And it could have just tied in those 2 parts of the book that were missed into the story like really well. And it's not to say that they couldn't have had time to do it. It wouldn't have changed much. It would have added an extra minute, I reckon. Not even. But other than things like that, like it did really good. I think it was fantastic. I liked it. Don't worry, King Robert will sort that out. I don't know what that means. But yeah, and I think a lot of people did have a bit of an issue with the flashback in the previous episode, in episode 5. And it's kind of like I said last week, it is perfectly placed, but yet it's also imperfectly placed. The fact of the matter is you can't put that flashback anywhere else because of how seamlessly it comes back to the present day. But you really lost a lot of momentum from that first charge within the battle because of the flashback. So it's a bit of a catch-22. It's a bit of 6-1, half dozen of the other. How do you do it? You can't. You had to do it the way that they did it, I feel. Anyway, that's that. I know who King Robert is because I've only, I've watched the first 2.5 seasons of Game of Thrones now. And I know who King Robert is at the beginning of, season 1 of Game of Thrones and stuff. But yeah. I think the other thing too and I think I may have mentioned this last week, I'm sitting here and I'm binge watching, at least I was for those first 2.5 seasons of Game of Thrones. And I kind of feel like I wasn't really absorbing like I was watching it and it was cool and like I was seeing things happening and stuff. But I think the difference between like obviously when everybody was watching it as things were being released and as it was coming out, they were having those conversations, they were talking about it. It embeds in people when you do that and you move forward with that. I've just been sitting there like a zombie watching. Oh, yep. So I'm kind of a little lost with it all. Especially with how the families like are all attached. You hear last names and you're like, all right, so that's obviously a descendant somehow from here. But then you find out that it's not a descendant of like that person, it's a descendant of that person in the family. It's like, whoa, fucking hell. Anyway. G'day, mate. Good to see you. All right, let's watch this Mortal Kombat fucking 2 trailer. The law! That's right, Lethal. It's the law. I haven't been able to get my head around all the law. Again, that's why I like this Duncan Egg story. Because yes, it does like reference so many different things and everything, but you don't need to know what they are for this story to make sense. Yeah, it is. It's a lot to get your head around, Adam. And I find that with a lot of things too. You know, for some of the things that have been out there for a long time, fucking, it's the same. Like, I swear, if you were to sit down and start watching something like, I don't know, fucking, oh, just popped into my head, maybe One Piece. Fucking, as opposed to sitting there as things are coming out and you're watching it and you're talking about it with your friends or whatever because they're watching it as well, and you're actually learning more and more about it because of your theorizing and because of this and because of that. Once that's gone, and that's why I think also the binge model doesn't work. I mean, the other thing too with this show, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, is it has shown. This is actually proven, in my eyes, from my point of view, in my opinion, this has proven that the week to week release actually works better for hype. For it, like if something's good, you know, when this first, like I didn't watch an episode of this until episode 3. And it was only because I heard people talking about how good the story is and like the characters and the chemistry and this and that. And it made me think, all right, I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a watch. Fucking loved it. But that week to week release is what gave that its opportunity. Because that was 3 weeks in, right? If you had have released it all in week one, and then everybody watched it, and then everybody reviewed it, would have never got to that week 3 where I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. But it also allows exactly what I was saying before. It allows us all to go off and theorize and talk about what's coming next. And, you know, obviously with something like Night of the Seven Kingdoms, it's a little bit harder to do that because it's already written in a book. So they've got to adapt it somehow from that. But I still think, all in all, the week to week release is way better than the binge model. It gives it time to breathe. It gives us time to talk about it. It gives us time to fall in love with it more. It gives it time for other people to jump on the bandwagon and start watching these things if they are good. I mean, it arguably works the same way the other way around. I've stopped watching Starfleet Academy. I haven't watched this week's episode, and halfway through last week, I was like, I just can't. This is the gayest shit I've ever watched. I can see a point to that. I can understand that. Because also too, yes, okay, so something comes out and it's binged, and then you really like it. Yes, you're going to talk about it, you're going to talk about it. But I do feel like it's going to lose itself in the zeitgeist when something else comes out, whether it be good or bad, whether the next thing that comes out is good or bad. I just feel like it will lose it loses momentum. Yep. Rest in peace, Star Trek. All right, let's watch this fucking trailer. Yeah, we got the headphones plugged in. So yeah, I woke up to a fucking Mortal Kombat 2 trailer, which is fucking awesome. Now, again, Mortal Kombat 1, the first Mortal Kombat from this thing. Not a massive fan of, like, there was some good like fights in it. There was some decent stuff. I hate the invitation system with the tattoo and transference of the tattoo. But I also hated Scorpion's lineage and the new character that they came up with in that. And then his ability was just stupid, I feel. The final fight would have been so much better without him there. Just between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. But this one, actually, I got to say, Carl Urban is fucking Johnny Cage.
You want to know what makes a hero? It's not destiny. It's not something you're born with. It's searching for greatness.
Johnny Cage, you have been chosen for Mortal Kombat.
Then realizing you've had it in you this entire time.
Whoa! I really don't feel comfortable hitting a girl.
Don't worry. We won't.
Yo, send me back. I want to go back.
The rules of the tournament are simple. Our fates would not be settled by the size of our armies.
Man, this looks really good.
They would be decided by combat.
I gotta say, this is what the first one should have been more like.
Warrior. I'm not some champion.
This is a
Oh, I'm
war
gonna pause that.
for the fate of your world.
Finish him! Me.
Oh, dude.
Earth belongs to me.
We do not kneel!
Is that Ghost?
Our only chance is to face this together.
Let's go, baby.
Okay.
You, Johnny Cage, are a part of this now. It's showtime.
Get over here!
Didn't he die in the last movie?
Johnny will definitely die.
Oh, dude. Shokan looks awful. Dude, there's a couple of bits that I need to just pause on for a second. I gotta say, the amount of fighting in this, the amount the stages, the backgrounds. This is, to me, looks more Mortal Kombat. Didn't he die? Oh, hang on a second. He is no, okay. So he's been reincarnated by. someone and he's fighting his cousin. Is that... There was another bit. Where was it? Jade. Was it before Jade? Dude, there's so many characters in this. I hope it's not too much, that bit. Who is
Awesome
that?
champion.
It's Scorpion versus... What, Smoking Ghost? Who is that? Shang Tsung took his soul, yeah. So he's obviously reincarnated him. Noob Sobot, right.
This is a war for the fate of your world.
Me? That's obviously a different scene.
Me.
That's cool, isn't it?
Earth belongs.
Who is Ghost? It's a good question. Who was I thinking of? Is it just... I have no idea.
Belongs to me.
Retarded.
We do not kneel!
Our only chance is to face this together.
Let's go, baby.
That's cool.
You, Johnny Cage, are a part of
You just made it up. I did just make it up.
this now.
Like the plot of the first movie. Who are they fighting?
It's showtime.
Get over here!
Eating. I don't think it looks too bad.
Johnny will definitely die.
Honestly, I don't think it looks that bad. Ghost is Cole's final form. That's his name, Cole. All right, well, let me just say this. That looked actually really good. I liked that. It looks better than the first one. The fighting, the stage, the look. And it doesn't look like Cole is in this one at all. Which is a good thing, I think. It's a good thing. I think this and Street Fighter are both going to be too goofy. I don't know about too goofy. I think that Street Fighter is going to be more goofy than Mortal Kombat. But I don't mind a bit of that. It might go too far. You could be right, but have they dropped a Street Fighter trailer? Like, There was the original trailer that came out, but have they dropped anything else since then? Yeah, it was just that minute long. They haven't dropped anything else since then. It's what, 2 months ago, yeah. Yes, they dropped a trailer. No, they haven't dropped a new one. I'm guessing that's what you're saying there, Mike. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? I don't really care about that anymore. All right. So it seems like, I mean, I think after the Super Bowl trailer that they did, it seems like Lucasfilm is sort of worried, freaking out. I mean, who knows? We can't really get inside their heads, right? But it seems to me. Oh, we don't need audio, do we? What are you talking about? Hey, Zeus Davila becomes a member. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So, with what are we? Fucking, what, 2 months? 3 months, basically, because it's at the end of May, right? 3 months away from the release of The Mandalorian and Grogu. And it's kind of funny because they dropped a trailer recently, obviously after the Super Bowl trailer, that hasn't really done anything for it. And I don't think oh, he gifted a fucking membership. Yes, he gifted a membership, of course. Not became a member. I think he is a member though. But he gifted a membership. Thank you. Thank you for fucking correcting me. Fucking lost my train of thought now because I fucking completely fucked that up. So Lucasfilm basically after the Super Bowl trailer, I reckon if they did have any they lost it. If they had any sort of hope from any of the people out there that are sort of dying off this franchise, they lost it after this. And then they come out with the new trailer, the one that they probably should have just clipped a couple of bits out from that and actually released that for the Super Bowl. Let's see. How's the actual trailer doing? Let's just take a quick look, shall we? So 8 days ago. We don't need to hear it. We don't need to watch it. See. $10 million views. Now, it's obviously not ratioed, but this is the other thing too. With the amount of people that aren't watching the trailer, that really don't care about Star Wars anymore, they're not even coming into, hey, watch it. They're not necessarily coming into thumbs down it. But the amount of thumbs up in comparison, well, also too, not necessarily in comparison, but also too with the amount of views that they've got on this trailer isn't necessarily a good thing. And I think I've mentioned it before, you know, the original trailer that they came out with for The Force Awakens with all this hype behind it, all the fans behind it, everybody's coming back for Star Wars. It had over 100 million views. Now, yeah, granted, 10 years ago, whatever, right? But I still think it would have had, in the 8 days that this has been out, it would have had what, at least 50 million views on a trailer like that. So it's telling. It is telling. But some Disney staffers are concerned the unconventional 36-second Super Bowl spot for the Mandalorian Grogu failed to spark excitement. Oh, what makes you think that? There's a scene Sean Levy. There's a sense Sean Levy's Starfighter is more likely to satisfy Star Wars fans when it hits theaters next spring. Sources who have seen footage praise Ryan Gosling's performance and suggest Levy has recaptured the franchise's spirit of fun. It's all fun. Yes. So basically, there are some quotes. Oh, that's not much really. It's only quoting the actual titles. They're basically hoping that there's going to be more attention now or more hype now for Starfighter than there is. And maybe it's because of the whole Ryan Gosling thing. You've got Project Hail Mary that's about to come out, Ryan Gosling. I think that that's going to do reasonably well. I'm excited for it. I think that it looks pretty good. I've never read the book, so I don't know like the story or anything. It makes me think of a little bit like a The Martian type of movie with Matt Damon, and I really like that movie. That's sort like obviously a little bit different in the sense they're in space. They're trying to save their planets from dying stars. That's the premise of the story. It's a little bit different than obviously something like The Martian, but I kind of put it in that same category as of whatever genre that would be in, you know. And it does have the same writer as The Martian. That's correct. That's correct. So maybe, you know, Lucasfilm is trying to feed off a little bit of the hype of Ryan Gosling and like, you know, this Jedi Starfighter, Star Wars Starfighter movie is going to be really, really good. Well, why are you even really talking about that right now? You know, why are you talking about Starfighter so much? Shouldn't you be talking about The Mandalorian and Grogu? Shouldn't you still be trying to build hype around that? Now, yeah, just because obviously, even in your eyes, you feel like the Super Bowl TV spot was a hiccup, your trailer was trash too. You know, that Mortal Kombat trailer was better than the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. In fact, you get more of a sense of a plot within the Mortal Kombat trailer than you do in the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. There is no hype for Mando and plot device. I think it's Mando and merch. That's what we should call it. Mando and merch comes out in May. Let's see what they're actually now saying about the Star Wars Starfighter, because, you know, basically it's exactly what we just read there. It's this spirit of fun that they're talking about. Star Wars Starfighter reportedly has recaptured the Star Wars franchise. How can you say that as like a statement of evidence or a statement of fact, I should say? It has recaptured the Star Wars franchise's spirit of fun from those who have seen footage. Dude, test screenings and stuff like that. What did you do, Lucasfilm? Did you get like Star Wars Explained and Sawyer and Jacob and, you know, Kyle Katarn and everybody to come and watch it? And they all thought it was fucking the best fun Star Wars you've ever fucking seen? Fun. Recaptured. The other thing too that I find hilarious about the recaptured, the spirit of the franchise and everything, Lucasfilm, where have you ever admitted fault that any of the stuff that you've come out with has been shit? All the seal clappers out there, where have you ever admitted that anything that Disney Lucasfilm has done has been shit? Because all I ever see from the Disney shills out there and the Disney seals out there, all I ever see is them, we're getting The Mandalorian. It's the best Star Wars we've ever seen. We're getting Mando Season 2. It's the best Star Wars we've ever seen. We're getting the Book of Boba Fett. It is the best Star Wars we've ever seen. We're getting Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's the best Star Wars we've ever seen. We're getting Mando Season 3. It's the best Star Wars we've ever seen. We're getting Ahsoka. It's the best Star Wars we've ever seen. We're getting Andor. It's the best Star Wars we've ever seen. It's honestly, where are we recapturing this from? You don't need to recapture anything. Everything has been brilliant. Everything has been perfect. What are we recapturing? It's like when you come out and say, we're back, baby. What are we back from? When were we ever away in your eyes to be back? And how can you say that this is recapturing the spirit of the franchise, the spirit of fun within the franchise, from a fucking couple of fucking probably paid watchers of the fucking movie? Honestly. Hope you're having a good stream. How you doing, Sula Felix? Good to see you. I was thinking about you the other day, and I was actually thinking like, man, I gotta start doing some gaming streams again, hang out with you guys. We had some fun on those. I gotta start doing that again. Always fun to just chill and hang out and, Fear of FEMA for $5 says, if Star Wars Starfighter was as good as Empire Strikes Back, would it even matter anyway? That's a great question. Well, this is the thing. We've got to assume that this thing is actually going to be as good as Empire Strikes Back, and that's such a hard thing to equate. That's such a hard thing to say, yeah, okay, Starfighter is going to be as good as Empire Strikes Back. I just don't think it could hit those levels. I don't think it could be as good as Attack of the Clones, which I argue is the worst out of the 6. And it's not the worst out of the 6. There's a lot of good stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff in there that has a lot of meaning, but like the performances and stuff like that, obviously it falls off. But I just don't think that this movie could be even close to that. Yeah, they were a lot of fun over that Christmas time, the Red Dead Redemption streams. Thank you, Ferrafema, for the super chat. It's a great point. Would it matter though? Okay, so theoretically, this movie is as good as Empire Strikes Back, as hard as that is to fathom. No, it obviously wouldn't matter anyway. Because the problem is that it's within Disney's canon. It's within Disney's Star Wars. And I heard... Didn't they go against some book again? Didn't they go against some book that they've come out with, like Disney Star Wars canon book, and they've gone against that with, I don't know, was it Maul? I can't remember. I saw something on the grapevine. I think it was Ryan again talking about it. Now they'll say that about Maul Shadow Lord. I think that's basically the same thing. Yeah. I had 3 things that basically say the same thing. And then you had Katie Sackhoff. I only just saw this, but you had Katie Sackhoff say that she's concerned. Certain. Fucking dyslexic. Fuck, I hate it. So fucking embarrassing. She's certain she will return as Bo-Katan since the character is based off Dave Filoni's wife, apparently. Dave Filoni's wife is a fat, evil, feminist witch. So I have job security forever. I think that it wouldn't matter if you were a portrayal or a stand-in for Dave Filoni's wife. I just think the fact that you're a woman is enough to give you that job security. Especially for Disney Lucasfilm. Wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think? Oh, we'll get into that in a second. Strong, independent woman. That's right. She is a strong, independent woman. So that's enough for her to have job security. I do find it funny, though, that Katie Sackhoff says something like, she's based off Dave Filoni's wife. How do you reckon she knows that? What makes her think that her character is based off Dave Filoni's wife? Do you think it's perhaps because Dave Filoni told her? Oh, see, you're based off of my wife. Bo-Katan is based off of my wife. Was she always based off of your wife, or is it just recently that she's based off of your wife? Curious about that. Was she based off of your wife when you introduced her in Clone Wars? Good morning from Hong Kong, Keely Chow. Well, good afternoon from Australia. What's going on? Well, we talked a little bit about some Star Wars stuff. We've watched the Mortal Kombat trailer, and we've talked about Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So if you're interested in any of those things, you can go back and check those out. It's a good question. Well, yeah, I'm just curious. Like, was this character always based off your wife, Dave Filoni, or is it a recent thing that she's based off of your wife? Is it just a talking point? I don't get it. And guys, that's not a great promotional thing for The Mandalorian and Grogu. That. Yeah, man, that's actually a good point. Thought he would have said that Ahsoka was based off of his wife. No, Ahsoka's based off of his mistress. Not a good marketing play at all. There are so many people out there like that have either always hated Dave Filoni and hated what he's done. There's a lot more people that have jumped on because look at what he has done. Look at what he's done. Look, I don't want to get into the whole argument that fucking Jeremy and Ryan had for the 20th time. And I got to say, Jeremy Strawman's so bad in those arguments, moves the goalpost constantly. I'm sorry. Jeremy's all right, but I hate that argument because it's so like, when he goes, oh, does the time travel thing matter to women empowerment? It's like, no, dude, he did it for Ahsoka. That is relevant. That is relevant. But look what Dave Filoni's done since pretty much having the reins himself. Now, the stuff that he had while he had to share the reins with George Lucas or whatever the case may be. And the other argument, too, in regards to that is that we don't ever put any blame on George Lucas. Hey, George Lucas still agreed to fucking let fucking Maul come back. He still agreed to have Ahsoka actually come in. But you got to remember that George always said that Ahsoka had to die at Order 66, and Dave Filoni went against that. We've got video evidence of Dave Filoni coming out and saying, "Oh, I intentionally left some stuff out when we showed him the episode because I knew that he wouldn't let it in there. And then once he's approved it, I then just sneak it in there." Like, yeah, we can give blame and we can give criticism to George Lucas for some of those decisions that were made. We give criticism to George Lucas for some of the decisions that he made in the prequels. We don't blame Dave Filoni for that. But what we do blame Dave Filoni for is the continued destruction of Star Wars moving forward. Once he took the reins, he completely went off the reservation. And a lot of that ties back to Clone Wars and Rebels. Rebels was real, like there's some really bad stuff in Rebels. But the one thing that I'll say about Rebels in regards to it is once everything's established, the characters stay like that, and they progress forward in the way that they are, those characters. You look at what they did in the Ahsoka series, the characters are completely different than the characters that they are in Rebels. Completely different. Especially Sabine and especially Ahsoka. That's not George Lucas. That's Dave Filoni. And that is especially with a character like Sabine, that is the agenda. The women empowerment stuff. She just needed to be in a deadly situation. You know, it's funny. On TV last night, I was doing some stuff on my phone. It was just sort of playing in the background. It was Shazam. You know, and throughout the first Shazam movie, you know, once he becomes Shazam, he's trying to figure out his powers, his abilities, what he can and can't do. He's trying to fly constantly, can't fly. He gets put into a situation where it's life or death, and he obviously nearly hits the ground, but starts flying at that moment. First time he flies. Now, there was build up to that. There was reason to believe that he would be able to do that, but just hadn't unlocked the ability yet. Or maybe he just never was going to be able to fly, but he just had the superhuman strength and he had the ability to shoot lightning out of his feet, like those sorts of things, right? There's no build up to this. There's certainly no build up to Sabine being able to use the Force in fucking Rebels. The fact that she was Ahsoka's Padawan at one point, completely off screen. You know, she goes through all the training in Rebels with Kanan, you know, with the Darksaber and everything. Nothing, no senses, nothing sort of unlocks for her during all of that, those teachings. Like, Dave Filoni is the worst. Because he not only is he destroying George Lucas's canon, George Lucas's Star Wars, but he is also destroying Disney's canon, Disney's Star Wars, and their own canon in the same breath, basically. So you can base whatever characters you want off anyone until you start fucking realizing that we just need to tell the fucking story and it needs to be within the Star Wars universe and abide to the laws and the canon and the continuity of Star Wars. It's going to die and continue to die. And this is where The Mandalorian and Grogu, after all the trailers that you released and the TV spot and everything that you put out, nothing. You're going to die a painful fucking death. And we're going to be all sitting here laughing at you. basically saying, we told you so. And guess what? Then you're going to blame us. You're going to blame us for being sexist. You're going to blame us again for being racist. You're going to blame us again for fucking being misogynistic. You're going to blame us again for being homophobic. You're going to blame us again for being Nazis, for being Hitlers, for being whatever, right? And at the end of the day, we don't listen to you anymore. We are laughing at you. It's done. You destroyed it. Congratulations. And honestly, look, everybody could be completely wrong about what's going to happen with the box office for this movie. You know, originally, like I'm going back, 6 months ago at least, you know, I was saying, all right, maybe this thing could hit 700 million. I don't think it's going to hit 1 billion. And now I'm kind of thinking more like 5, maybe 600 million. I've heard people out there saying 400 to 500 million is all that this is going to do. The problem is it's so hard to gauge because we haven't had a Star Wars movie out for so long. So we've got nothing to go off. The only thing that we've got to go off is what Disney Plus has been able to do with their shows. People fucking laughing at this shit and fucking talking about it, the Acolyte and stuff like that, and laughing at what Star Wars is doing and seeing how much engagement or how little the engagement Star Wars is getting. Look at that trailer. Like I said, 10 million views. That's it. 10 million's a lot, but not for Star Wars. Not for Star Wars. Let's break this up with the House of the Dragon trailer. So it was probably a little, the first teaser trailer for House of the Dragon Season 3. They dropped this basically just after the final episode of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Great strategy. Incredible. I actually think that Disney Lucasfilm could take a fucking little page out of your promotional book for this kind of thing. It's actually quite unbelievable to see the contrast in the trailers and when they drop them and how they drop them for fucking Star Wars compared to you drop these fucking 6 episodes over 6 weeks or whatever it was for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It builds momentum. People are enjoying it. People are jumping on. People are starting to watch it. You're going to have people binge watching it over the course of this week because it's now complete and it's like a 3-hour movie, which is actually really cool. And then they drop a trailer for the next fucking thing to maybe build on that hype, perhaps. So let's check this out.
Where were you?
Alicent came to Dragonstone. She will open the gates of the Red Keep and surrender to me.
You cannot trust her.
The king has abdicated the throne. A new dawn is coming. A new line of unsullied kings.
Hey, a lot of these lines and stuff like that would mean so much to probably like so many other people. Whereas it just sort of goes over my head a little bit because I don't know and I don't necessarily have a lot of the context.
You are the Queen of Dragons. You have an absolute power within your grasp.
Soon or late, Rhaenyra will send her new dragons here. It would be
Daenerys, the Queen of Dragons.
This is the moment you become queen.
Yeah, look, it's very true that they sort of did blue ball the audience at the end of the last season. Now, I didn't obviously know the context obviously with the writers' strike, and I don't exactly know all the details of it, but you know, it looks like we're going to get a lot of action in this fucking season, because we were supposed to probably get a battle at the end of last season, and then I think another battle at the end of this season, but it looks like we're probably going to get a battle at the beginning of this season and at the end of this season, perhaps. Again, I don't, excuse me if I'm wrong. It's just, again, watching other people stream and stuff like this. I've been watching House of the Dragon, and I kind of really enjoyed season 1. Season 2, again, it was fine. I feel like there's a couple of things in there that I don't know about, but I did feel like it sort of did blue ball us at the end of season 2. But I'm hoping, like, this looks like it could be all right. I like the dragons, I got to say. How cool do they look? How cool do they look? Awesome. So that comes out in when? June, isn't it? Something like that. Yeah, June. And, you know, that might get a little bit of a peak because of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Damon is my favorite character. He's a good character. Good actor too. All right. Let's have a look at this. So yeah, I that's actually kind of cool. You know, and again, just in regards to the promotional thing, the way that they went about it, the way that they did it, how much better is that? You know, and even that 1 minute trailer, like you're not getting a massive amount of plot synopsis. There's a couple of little things in there, and I guess if you do already know some of the story or whatever, a lot of those lines in there, like "Where were you?" Like, you know, and then you get the thing. Allison came to see us. She's going to help us do this. She's going to give in. You can't trust her. Like, there's a little bit there to sort of give you an idea of where this season is going to go or what's possibly going to happen. But then there's a lot of action, a lot of things happening on the screen. Boom, 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 boom. And it's fine. Surely they'll drop another proper full trailer, not a 1 minute teaser trailer or anything like that. Wow, I'm actually kind of glad that it saved that there. Wow, that could have been bad. Sorry, I'm just looking at something. I had a tab that wasn't tabbed properly. Anyway, now, excuse me while I stumble through this with my dyslexia. No, hopefully we'll be okay. So we've got a little bit from Sam Witwer about Maul Shadow Lord. Let's see what he actually had to say here. So Sam Witwer says Maul now views Jedi differently in Maul Shadow Lord. He was trained to hate and destroy the Jedi without ever questioning it. Now he's looking, this is what he's saying, now he's looking at the galaxy. Now he's looking at the galaxy going, boy, we could sure use a Jedi Knight or two. At least with the Jedi you knew were where they stood. Sorry. At least with the Jedi you knew where they stood. There's something to respect there. See, I don't know. This is the thing. Maul should be dead. And Maul Shadowhunter, the book, takes place obviously before the Phantom Menace. So does Lockdown. Takes place before the Phantom Menace. But this all takes place after. So, yes, they could technically change fucking Maul's perspective of what the Jedi are. I need a couple of Jedi now. You know, look, in Rebels, he was fighting with, at one point he was fighting with Kanan against the, was it with Kanan or with Ezra or with both, against the Inquisitors. You know, Maul is basically at a point now where it's whatever it takes to survive. You know, he'll ally with anyone, but they're not long-term allies. He'll just do whatever it takes to survive. Still think it's fucking stupid. This empire, he's seen no value there, no values there. Just the naked grip for influence, power, and money. Principles are gone. And he looks at that with a certain level of distaste. This is the thing. Why would he look at that with a level of distaste? This is what Maul should be thinking in this moment, is how can I grab that influence, power, and money for myself? Principles are gone. Maul never had any principles. From the time he was a fucking baby, he was trained as this. You know the amount of deprogramming somebody like a Maul would have to go through to come to terms with the fact that maybe I could use a Jedi or two. Are you kidding me? He may not have agreed with the Jedi Knights, but at least they had principles. You knew where they were. You knew who you were dealing with, and you could reason with that. There's no reasoning with the Empire. They got to do something with the character that's not supposed to exist, I guess. It just seems like out of the realms of possibility that he would ever go to this. I can see him using Jedi to get out of a sticky situation, like in Rebels. But I can't ever see him allying himself. I can't ever see him thinking in the back of his mind, oh, it would actually be kind of better if I at least had a Jedi or two. At least they're principled. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off, Sam Witwer. Fuck off, Dave Filoni. Fuck off, Disney Star Wars. Fuck off, Disney Lucasfilm. Fuck off. Like, that is fucked. It's just another character that you want to completely change, despite the fact that they're not supposed to even be there in the first place as well, I guess. What a joke. Hey, at least we got through that pretty much unscathed. I'm going to move that to the end because I don't know. We might watch it. We'll see. We'll see. I think I've seen it before. It's just this. It's the and it's like a 4 or 5 minute video. Marsha Lucas perfectly explains what's wrong. And so hang on. Why the prequels didn't work. I think I've seen that before. Give me 1 second here, guys. Let's talk about... Actually, you know what? I'm just going to get another drink. because this thing's done. And then we're going to talk about the Baftas. We're going to talk about the Baftas. Fuck, bitch! I'll be right back.
Oh, Mozza, read that.
Mozza, don't let the American bitch.
Did you just fart?
Yes, I did. Tell you what to do.
I think it's bedtime, Mozza.
Question mark.
I think it's bedtime for Mozza.
You pushed so far.
That's the type of videos that we watch on fucking Happy Hump Day.
I can't pee. Oh my god.
All right. Let's talk about the Baftas, shall we? Now, it's interesting. After watching a couple of people, g'day Decrepit. After listening to a couple of people, Grace Randolph's fucking retard, like really retarded. They've made a very good point. At least a few people out there have made a very good point. These people that wish to virtue signal and, you know, are very woke and shit like that, they missed an opportunity here. They failed this test. Because if anybody truly knows what Tourette's is, there's no control over it. Now, the thing that, and I certainly don't claim to be a Tourette's expert by any stretch of the imagination. However, one thing I've noticed with a couple of Tourette's people that I've seen is that there are certain things that might happen that might trigger a response, a tick, an outburst, right? Now, yeah, there could be something in the fact that he sees two black men on the stage and then he comes out and says that word, right? That doesn't mean that he thinks that or believes that. It's that what he's seeing is triggering that outburst. It would be like, you know, if a Tourette's person, let's say, was walking down the street and saw two men holding hands and kissing in the street or something like that. And as he walks past, he just goes, "Faggot, cunt!" Like that. It's the same sort of thing. It triggered that response. It doesn't mean, and this is the other thing that I've heard is, why is it even in that person's vocabulary? Dude, it's in my vocabulary. The N word is a part of my vocabulary. Whether or not I choose to use the word or not is a different story altogether. But it's in my vocabulary. I can say the word. I can pronounce the word. The word exists. We know it does. You can watch movies. You can watch Django Unchained and they drop the word. It shouldn't be in the person's vocabulary. What the fuck are you talking about? So let's... I was about to say, if you haven't seen it, this is what happened. But I'm sure nearly every fucking person here has actually seen or heard what happened. So at the Baftas, Michael B. Jordan and Dilroy Lindo, I don't know, were up on stage getting an award, presenting an award. I don't know. I don't really fucking care. But this is the thing. They have a person in the audience who has who has Tourette's because they did a movie, like almost a documentary, based on his life and the fear and the shame and the things that this person goes through that has Tourette's when they say stuff. Told the Queen to fuck off. Got beat up in the street for having a Tourette's outburst in front of people about something. I don't know the exact context, right? Goes through his life experiencing exactly what he's now experiencing with this. But this is now on a massive level because it's not just him walking down the street. I've heard people say, oh, why isn't there video evidence of him saying fuck off to the Queen? What do you, like, maybe it was just a thing. There weren't any cameras there. Perhaps. I don't know. Do we really need it? The argument for this is so bad. And I gotta say, I feel so sorry for the John dude, despite how much of a fucking activist that they want to be. Like, the disability activists out there and stuff like this. I remember I was watching a Charlie Kirk thing once at one of his things at one of the schools that he's at. And this person comes up there and they're signing and they're doing sign language and they're like, thank you for being for being inclusive and allowing me to come up. Like, dude, that you're virtue signaling fucking your disability. And it's like, okay. Did I ever really look at a deaf person any differently? No. I kind of think to myself, how would I communicate with this person, being that I don't know how to sign and I can't understand them signing? So I don't know whether or not this John Davidson dude is actually whether or not he's an activist or not, or what the entire deal is there. But based on what this person's gone through in their life, and that's the entirety of what the movie was actually about, and then this happens, and it basically blows up in his face, just like every other instance where he felt bad or felt shame. And the thing is that he even came out and apologized when he didn't even really need to. What should be happening is the BAFTAs should actually be coming out and apologizing on his behalf, but also within the apology saying, look, the person that John, he's got Tourette's, certain things could trigger it, which, there are two black men standing on the stage and it was an unfortunate situation. We apologize if it did hurt anyone's feelings. It was completely unintentional, obviously, because he's got Tourette's and it was completely unintentional. So now that I've rambled on for fucking ever.
Dora and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making. We're here to celebrate.
Okay. It's not funny, but it's fucking hilarious. Because, I do find it kind of funny that there's, it's almost wait for the pause and then say it. But then also the fact that he looks right at him is like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. And then he's got to sort of jump straight back into it. I think these two did a great job of just, moving on. Okay, we're going to move on. And apparently this person had 10 outbursts throughout the night. So maybe there was a couple before this. I think after this, the person removed themselves because they realized how embarrassing this is. And that's kind of sad in itself, isn't it? Because there are people out there like Grace that are hopefully, are asking for segregation in this sense. and this person ended up segregating themselves. But again, now feels even worse than before. But like, oh, it's so fucking ridiculous. Speaking of Grace, let's listen to a couple of things that she had to say. She obviously did a whole stream on this. I watched Steph's stream last night of her covering this. I don't really watch Grace Randolph, and I kind of refuse to actually go and click on her fucking shit because she's just so retarded. But like, again, this is a massive failure on their behalf. They failed. Because this was the moment where they could be a bit more tolerant and a bit more inclusive and all of that kind of shit. And just say, yes, this person has Tourette's. Maybe the fact that there were two black men on the stage triggered that word to come out. But it was completely unintentional. It was completely... there was completely no malice behind it. It was completely accidental because that's what happens with Tourette's. But no, we've got to be retarded and forget how Tourette's actually works in regards to the knowledge and the information that we know about it.
But there are certainly a lot of people online who are defending Mr. Davidson's right to say this word because they want to say it. And that's really the problem. It's, really take a hard look at anyone who's defending Mr. Davidson and ask why.
None of us are actually interested in saying it, want to say it, think it's okay to say it. What you think? You think that because I'm defending John Davidson, that means that I want to now go out into the world, drop the N-bomb, and when the person goes, how dare you say that? I go, my shield, my blanket for defense in regards to being allowed to say this word is Jonathan Davidson. That's so stupid. These people want to say the word, so that's why they're defending him saying the word. We're not defending him saying the word. We're defending his Tourette's syndrome. It's clearly not the best word to be yelling out there in the middle of a quiet fucking auditorium with two black men standing on the stage. It was completely unintentional, and he couldn't help it. We're defending his Tourette syndrome, not his right to say the word. And then Steph's got, I think we just got the one here from Steph.
I feel like there would be bad actors. I just feel it's an extremely bad situation. And I worry as a woman.
Oh, this is where Grace needs to make it all about her. This is where Grace needs to make it all about her. Because now she's being attacked. You know what you're being attacked for, Grace? Your retardedness. Your inability for your brain to think with truth, normal fucking facts. You work your way around everything to get to the narrative that you want to get to. And in this sense, it's actually kind of disgusting. Your gross is showing, Grace. Your retarded is showing, Grace. Your brainwashing is showing, Grace. So the best thing that you could possibly do right now is shut the fuck up and actually come out and say the truth, that he couldn't actually help it. He didn't know what he was doing. It was in his vocabulary because it's in every single person on the planet Earth's vocabulary.
not only in solidarity with other groups, but for women as well, that what kind of language does this let in? You know, I was tweeting about it earlier today, and people said some of the most disgusting stuff about me. I mean,
yes, because you're a retarded, stinky, dumb bitch. I think our freedom of speech gives us the right, not that we've got any here in Australia, but it gives us the right to call you out for your retarded take and call you retarded for making it.
they were just looking at an excuse to say something bad about me. And this, unfortunately, Mr. Davidson needs to realize that he created.
It gave them an opportunity to say something bad about me. You went after a disabled fucking person, basically. I don't know, it's a disability, right? You went after this person with complete illogical thoughts on the basis of the facts. And everybody called you out for it because you are one of the bigger ones out there that is supporting it. In fact, you're the one advocating for his cancellation and all of this kind of thing and how wrong he is the most out of anyone, the biggest person out there doing it right now. So, of course, you're going to be the one that's going to cop the brunt of it all because you are the retarded one leading the charge.
The opportunity for that.
That's pretty much the clip. So Grace just had to become the victim at the end of the day. And just like what's happened in the world, truth doesn't matter doesn't matter anymore. Logic doesn't matter anymore. What we know to be fact does not matter anymore if it goes against the narrative of racism, sexism, fucking homophobe, fucking transphobe, any of those things. It doesn't matter the context. You are a racist, a homophobic, a misogynistic, a bigot, a blah, 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 blah. A Nazi. That whole thing, it honestly, it actually pissed me off. It actually pissed me off because those other guys are right. They failed the test. This is a nothing burger that all they had to do is basically open their arms to this person in a sense and say, look, we understand that you obviously didn't mean to say it. You know, your Tourette's took over. Thank you for actually voluntarily segregating yourself if you want to even go to something like that. You know, sorry it happened. He even apologized to, but this is the thing. The apology is not good enough because it's not public. You know, oh, it was done on such a public stage that he needs to publicly come out and say, you can't just fucking go to Michael B. Jordan behind closed doors and go, look, I'm so sorry, N-word, he probably said to him. And you know what? Probably if that something like that happened, Michael B. Jordan probably would have had a bit of a giggle about it in that moment. I don't know. They should be. You know what should have happened on the stage? Instead of him having this shocked look on his face, maybe having the shocked look on his face, but instead of going back straight to it, you could have been like, hey, all right, we understand. You're a little far, but, you know, I don't know. Try and make a joke out of these people can't laugh at themselves. These people have no grace. None. And isn't it funny that Grace herself, Grace Randolph, has no grace? When did this actually come out? Oh, it's actually this week. We'll watch it. So we got the Toy Story 5 trailer. Actually, you know what? Oh, no. I've only got one seal of the week, so he's going to win it because there's only one. So we won't do a poll this week, but we'll definitely give him his flowers for this week. But let's watch the Toy Story 5 trailer. And then we'll wrap it up. It's been a good stream. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. It's been pretty good. I know this time slot hasn't really been helping. I actually started thinking about doing it on like the night before, Wednesday night. Maybe. The thing is like I'd have to start at like midnight for me. I'm really tired at that point because I have worked all Wednesday. And then obviously I've got Thursday off. But the big, I feel like one of the biggest problems right now is how many people stream at this time. We've got the overlap with Anna, but that's fine. I don't mind having the overlap with Anna because I can raid Anna. Wicked, Virtue, and Vera are streaming right now. Nina's streaming, and she's got that Anna chick on, that politics talking chick. That was a fucking good sort of interview or whatever for her to get. Melvin streaming. Camelot streaming. Hypnotic is streaming. Fucking Chrissy Mayer is streaming. WDW Pro is streaming. Fucking Fatal J is streaming. Geeks and Gamers Play is streaming. So they're gaming. Like, there's so many people streaming right now. What do you guys think of the State of the Union, if you watched it? The thing is, they'll say, like, the left will say, oh, see him calling them out. These people are crazy. These people are crazy. I've already seen it. That's their narrative. Oh, Trump's just fucking, you know, just can't take the other side. See, he's intolerant. Like, they're crazy. I think he was calling them out for being crazy, for sitting down for some things that they probably should have standed and applauded for. The other narrative from the other side is, you know, and it was a great move by Trump, obviously, is just saying, if you agree with this, stand and let it be known that you're in agreement with this statement. If the government is here for America, I was about to say Australians, for Americans before illegal aliens. And the entire left just sat there. It's telling. It's telling. That's TDS. That's TDS. And that's what it's done to people. And the problem is here in Australia is it's exactly the same fucking thing. It's exactly the same thing. If anything, it's probably worse. It's actually probably worse here. Because did you know, and it's if you had a Trump figure do, let's say, a state of the address kind of thing here in Australia, both the left and the right wouldn't stand and applaud for that statement. Just switching around America with Australia. Both left and right sides of politics here in Australia would not stand for that statement. That's scary. That's scary. Shed light on the Iranian situation. I thought it was actually a really, really good State of the Union. It's crazy. I got more hope for fucking American politics than I do for Australian politics. And the problem is that trickle-down effect that used to happen, I feel like TDS has stopped that trickle-down effect. It really has. It's like it's like the left at the State of the Union. All the other countries are sitting on their hands. Oops. All right. Let's watch this trailer. I don't know about this for Toy Story. I really don't.
Do you, Forky, take Karen Beverly to be your beloved bride?
Yeehaw! I now pronounce you husband and knife. Who poisoned the maid of honor?
Here's a package for you. Oh, thank you, thank you.
Hi there, I'm Lily Pad. Let's play.
Oh, extinction! Not again! Bunny, screen time's over now.
Okay.
I want to talk to you, Device.
Please, call me Lily.
Me and the toys have been working all summer to try and get Bonnie to make friends.
Yeah.
But then you had to ruin
Got
it.
it.
You're not even listening to me.
I'm always listening. See?
Now look here, me and the toys have been working all summer.
Now in Spanish.
Con los gemelos Jordan, al otro lado
What?
Yeah, I got dibs on behind the dresser.
Modern Toy Story.
Jesse, hello?
Is it as bad out there for toys as they say it is?
We're finding more abandoned toys each day.
We're down! Tex invaded our house, too.
I don't know, Jesse. Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
I'm losing Bonnie to this device.
You got a friend in me. Woody!
Came here as fast as I could.
Let me just finish it.
Why are you wearing a dress, Woody?
It's called a poncho, Forky.
Someone needs a brown marker.
Halt! Who goes there?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I come in peace.
It's been too long, cowboy.
What are you, some sort of old man toy?
What?
She thinks you're old because you're bald, Woody.
Bonnie needs help from someone at least from the same century. So long, toys.
We're gonna need backup. No way. Just give me away, Buzz! Our mission on this planet is to make a child happy.
Just remember what you're passing.
Bonnie still needs us. Come on, Bullseye!
Buzz, you stay here. I'm going with them.
You don't think I can do it?
No!
Nice poncho. It's good to see them fighting again.
It sure is.
It's so, I don't know. I guess it's just modern. It's too, like, you know, you got the technology now coming in. Technology is basically the bad guy. And the toys aren't being played with anymore. Tell you what, there's some it's pretty relevant. It's pretty obvious that right now, like, you know, I've seen a couple of videos out there of, you know, people talking about being a 90s kid, being an 80s and 90s kid, you know, getting on your bike and going out and riding and fucking coming back at dark time and having dinner and doing all of that stuff, and actual play, you know, as opposed to playing a video game or something like that. So there is that messaging in there. And look, I guess the positive that I'll say is that at least it's not doing it the other way around, where it's trying to, you know, it's trying to say that, yes, all this screen time is really bad. That's what I got from that trailer. I don't know. The problem for me, though, right now with everything is that everything needs to overtly teach you a lesson. It's got to overtly put it in your face. Whereas, like, the older shows and older movies used to teach you morals, or you used to maybe get some morals or some guidance through a TV show, through the story that they're trying to tell, but it was subtle. The story the story that the show is trying to tell might hit somebody else differently to how it hits another person. They might learn a different message. They might learn a different moral code or something like that. And that's not to say that everything was like that. You know, you had a lot of comedy and a lot of this and a lot of that out there. But this just seems very like, I don't know. That's where like I something like Toy Story 1 is so great. I honestly don't know, Adam. Honestly don't know. I'm an 80s kid too. Feel like my teen years and my, 90s. Going out and playing and doing all of that. Fucking, I used to love getting my G.I. Joes, stealing my sister's Barbie Ferrari, and running over Barbie and Ken. My sister used to complain. She used to play around the coffee table, and like the legs of the coffee table, like the coffee table was like her Barbie house, and like the lift would be one of the legs of the coffee table, and she'd go up and she'd set up all her shit and everything, and I'd come in there and I'd fuck it all up. Oh yes, the good old days. I had a couple of biker mice as well that I used to fucking do that with. But that was playing, that was playing with the toys and everything. And then obviously like that would have been like through the 80s and stuff, like my single digit years, and then the 90s, it was more going outside and playing and fucking riding bikes. And I used to live in a court, and we had a heap of friends. We had Chris across the road. We had Perham up a couple of doors down, Michael down the road. Went to school with all these guys. So it was really cool because we're all in that same court. And there was two Chris's actually, one at the end of the court and one over the road. But we used to play cars on our bikes in the court. And then fucking at the end of the court, there was just this hill that goes up. And then there was this dip that goes down and comes back up again. And we used to ride our bikes in that. It was fucking awesome. But then on the other side of that was just this oval. Just this massive amount of grass. We used to play cricket up there or kick the footy up there. Fucking awesome. We used to ride fucking all the way to the shops. So like fucking, we used to come out of the court, chuck a left, go all the way to the end of the street, chuck another left, go all the way to the end of that street, and then chuck a right. You're on the main road, and there's just a row of shops, milk bars, fish and chip shop. Dude, my dad sometimes would pull up in the little car park thing that they had out the front of the milk bar. My dad knew me well enough that I used to walk in there with the $8 from my dad and just say a pack of Benson Hedges special filter. He'd give them to me, and I'd go out and give the smokes to my dad at like fucking 9 years old. And on. There were times where he wouldn't even leave the house, and I'd ride my bike to the shop and buy him smokes. I'd just go like, Dad, I'm going to the shops with the guys or whatever. And he'd be like, oh, while you're here, I'll give you some money. Get me some smokes. Fucking the good old days, man. The good old days. And then going to like a Blockbuster, like a video store, fucking, dude, my dad would sometimes spend like fucking an hour in there trying to decide what, like, he'd hold on to like a couple of them, as he's going through, and he'd only ever really pick one or two because they got to be returned in time. And I'd be in the games section looking for a fucking game to play either on my Sega or my Nintendo or something. Fucking awesome, man. Those days are completely gone. The thing is, though, is that maybe the video store thing, they're completely gone forever. But like, the going out and playing with friends and stuff, the problem is with that now is like, if I had a kid, I would want them to go out and play with friends. Go get on your bikes and just go, disappear, do something, right? Go and throw fucking rocks into the river. I don't fucking care what you're doing, right? But the problem would be in this day and age is like, I could instill that in my children, but I want them to go off with their friends and do that. But their friends are sitting there. And that, again, you get that imagery in this Toy Story 5 trailer. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. There was a time where I was actually stealing money off my parents, and it wasn't actually off my parents. It was off my mum's business. I'd go into her office and she'd have these things. It's complicated, but I used to steal money out of there. I got busted so bad. Guess how much I ended up stealing over time? And this is in like $5, $10, $20 notes. Like $380 or something. Oh, I got in so much trouble. Dude, we used to have this massive backyard in this house where I used to live in the court and everything. Massive backyard. We had an above ground pool. Next to that, right in the corner, was the cubby house. It was like a little, just a house raised off the ground so the timber at the bottom doesn't flood. It was really, really cool. Until I burnt that fucking thing to the ground. I got in so much trouble for that. Dude. Let me tell you that. So fucking the boys in the court, we're playing Cowboys and Indians, right? And we're hiding in bushes. We got our sticks and our guns, and we got our bows and arrows and everything. And I was one of the Indians, and I was my cubby house was my teepee. Of course, what do you do in a teepee? You light your fire in the middle of the fucking teepee. Well, of course, because the cubby house is raised off the ground so that when it rains, the water doesn't like rot the timber. It started burning through. The air got underneath it. It literally, the thing came down. It came down. It was a Sunday afternoon. My dad was having a Sunday afternoon siesta, like a little nap. And I bolted. I bolted for the rest of the day. And then it started to get dark. I'm like, fuck, I got to go home. I'm going to get in so much fucking trouble. And I got home and no one said anything. No one said anything. So I was like, okay, I got away with it for the time being, but like, obviously someone's eventually going to notice. Well, as soon as I basically thought that thought, where we used to have dinner, we had this sort of round table. It was one of those round tables that you could fold out, and then the middle folds out, and then you slam the two ends together, and it makes the table a little bit bigger. My dad was sitting at the head of the table. And we were all of us were around the table, and of course, like the way Dad's sitting is on this side is just all the glass. It's basically like ceiling to floor with a split in the middle. Glass. I've actually got another story about that actually. And it's all the way across. And as he's eating, I'm half watching him because I know that in his vision is where the cubby house is. So I'm half watching him while he's eating. And the moment he notices, like the look on his face, I'll never forget it. The shock and the confusion and shock all at once was like quite funny. Anyway, he looks straight at me and he's like, what happened? And like everybody else was confused. Mum's like, what's going on? And he just points and fucking mum looks and she's then in shock. And then fucking dad, this was the time when he grabbed he grabbed the plastic spoon, right? Went into my room, whack, hit me that hard, the spoon broke. But even that was my fault. Look what you've done now. Went and grabbed a wooden spoon, came back and finished my fucking, 3-4 hits. Staying in your room, you're grounded. Yeah. I tried to explain my way out of it by telling the story about fucking playing Cowboys and Indians. I deserve that so bad. I deserve that one so bad. I also deserved the Knuckles. I'll tell you this story. It's not as long. But again, about to go out and play. Rollerblades are a big thing at this point in time of my life. Getting my rollerblades on, putting them on inside. Get to that back door. Exactly the same thing that I was talking about. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a bit of timber across the middle. So it's not complete glass. But you've got a smaller panel at the bottom and a bigger panel at the top. And a sliding door. Well, that sliding door was the end of me. Because instead of the door moving, I moved. And my foot went through the fucking glass. Bolted. Came back, got in trouble for that. Got the fucking wooden spoon on the knuckles. But my mistake in that punishment was that the first swing at the knuckles, I moved my hand. So the punishment was double. I had to get the double amount. All he hit was whack. It hit the fucking desk in my room. Fucking had to leave him there. Whack, whack, whack. And then that actually reminded me of the time when we were selling that house. And we had some family friends over, and I didn't get punished for this because it really wasn't my fault. But it's still kind of funny because the house was for sale. We had an open for inspection the next day. And me and my mate are running around the house, and we end up in my room, and I've jumped onto my bed, and he has tackled me, right? But he's tackled me through the window. And of course, the blinds are shut. The window that we fell through was the wind out window. So it had a fly screen on the other side of it. And me and my mate, he's like got his arm wrapped around me like this, and he's sort of gone almost head first through it. It's lucky that the blinds and everything were closed with all the glass and everything. But we couldn't get out. Like, we were stuck in the window, like hanging there. And like the parents came running in, and they're like trying to get us out and everything. Complete like accident. But yeah, he kind of like speared me through the window. There you go. A little bit of my life from the 90s. A little bit of my life from the 90s. The good old fucking days. The good old days. And we're not going to watch that Marsha Lucas thing. I think we've pretty much seen it before. Yeah, I was a rat bag, man. I was fucking hyper. Always doing shit wrong. Dude. We'd sold the house. The house was sold. We had a fireplace in this house. I'm a massive pyromaniac. I love fire. My parents always used to let me start fires in the fireplace, as long as the cage goes up around it, all of that sort of thing. We had sold the house, and I asked my parents, can I start a fire? It was a bit of a chilly night. You know, it tended to warm the house up pretty well, at least the lounge room area of the house, because that's where it was. But this is like, there's a carpeted area around this fireplace. Hence why you want to make sure that the cage is always up. So if anything spits out, fucking gets caught by the cage. Well, I asked my parents, they're like, yeah, no problem. Just make sure you do everything. I'm like, yep, no worries. And I'm there, I'm making a fire and everything. Fire's burning, room's starting to warm up. And of course, I'm tending to the fire as we go, putting more wood on, and all of that sort of thing. Of course, me being the pyromaniac that I am now sitting there. I put a log on, and I'm now sitting there sort of poking it with the poker, the stick, sort of playing around with it and everything. And then this fucking chunk about that big comes flying out of the fireplace and onto the carpet. It landed like, let's say the right angle. This is a couch. It landed right up against the back of the couch. So not only did the back of the couch singe, the corner of the leg singe, but the carpet where this thing fucking landed completely singed away. My mum was in the office. My dad was in the other room watching TV in the other lounge. And here I am I freaked out. I grabbed the little shovel thing from the fireplace and you clean up the area with the shovel and the brush. And I picked up the piece, I chucked it back in there, and I moved the couch over a little bit. So the couch was sort of sitting over the top of it. Well, of course, I get found out once the fucking settlement happens. We've sold the house. We're about to fucking move out, and the furniture's about to leave. I got in so much trouble for that again because I didn't say anything. I just hid it. I don't know how I slept at night sometimes. That was all in just one house. Oh my God. I was a fucking, oh my God. Just going through those stories made me think of how bad of a kid I was. Kids be kids. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave it there, guys. We had a little bit of fun there at the end. Anna is still streaming, so we're going to give her a raid. I think she's still streaming, actually. Hold on one second. Yes, she is still live. We're going to give her a raid. Let me actually set this up real quick before we do go. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Thanks to the lurkers. I know that you're there. I know you're there. Shout out to the lurkers. Shout out to the rewatchers. Lara A., prayers to you and your family. I hope you're doing okay. To any of the other rewatchers, thank you. Smash the like button, subscribe, all that good shit. Do it. Do it. Redirect to Anna, that Star Wars girl. Save. Very good. Very, very good. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, what's up? We're just wrapping up. We are just wrapping up. We talked about Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We talked a little bit about some Star Wars stuff. You can check that out. We watched a couple of trailers. I hope you're doing well, Laura. Good to see you. Good to see you. Or you been here the whole time and you've just been lurking? Is that what you're saying? Shout out if that's the case. But yes, thank you guys. Thanks for a couple of super chats there. Firafima, thanks for the gifted membership. Jesus, I appreciate that. Appreciate the support. And we will see you next week for another Casual Rage. I'll see you on Flashcast this weekend. Hopefully Flash has actually watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms and we can actually have a discussion about it. He said that he was going to binge watch it once it completely came out, and I sent him a reminder saying watch it. He didn't fucking reply to me though. But yeah, hopefully he's watched that and we do a bit of a discussion about that and have a bit of fun. Again, get drunk, of course, as per usual. Cheers, guys. We'll see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing the movie. There's one scene that sticks out, and it probably sticks out for everybody, which is that, Have you heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
What are you talking about?
They came bounding over.
Fuck off! Disney! You fucking cunt!
A few minutes? Are you kidding? At the rate they're gaining?
No, what is it? You have to shoot this. Traveling through hyperspace is like dusting crops, kid. Without precise calculations, we fly too close to a store. Or bounce into a supermarket and then...
Yeah.
Be a hell of a mess.
What's that?
Watch. You're losing the deflector shields. Go strap yourselves in. Be careful on the way out.
Yeah, sure. I'm taking it very cautiously.
You... Go away!
We bounced too near a supermarket?